the indigenous people in the Philippines, we must first define what indigenous people means. Based on anthropological definition, indigenous people refers to original inhabitants of a particular territory. Just like for example, here in the Philippines, we considered Negritos as the first or early settlers here in the Philippines 30,000 years ago from mainland Southeast Asia. Another definition was from Kotak 2000. He defined indigenous people as those descendants of tribes people who lived on as culturally distinct colonized people, many of whom aspire to autonomy. Based on the definition by Kotak, he defined indigenous people as those distinct from the other, having their culture, beliefs, and own tradition, and wanting to be respected. Another definition of indigenous people was defined by Republic Act 8371, also known as the Indigenous Peoples' Right Act or the IPRA. Based on this definition, indigenous people refers or were considered as an organized community differentiated from the majority of the Filipinos, having the rights for their ancestral domain, including their ownership over land and natural resources.
The population of indigenous people here in the Philippines. According to the National Commission of Indigenous People or NCIP, they estimate that there are 11.3 million of indigenous people are in the Philippines. These are the geographical distribution of indigenous people. Kung pagbabasehan natin sa percent of population in every island, the majority of 61% of range 10 to 20% of the Philippine population of indigenous people is located in Mindanao and generally called as the Lumad, while the 33% of the population are in Luzon and collectively named as the Igorot or the Mountaineer in Tagalog. While the remaining 6% are scattered in the Visayan Island. Ngunit meron silang sariling pagkakakilanlan o pangalan ng grupo kung saan sila tribo nabibilang. Merong 10 tribes or 10 tribal groups here in Luzon. These are the Ifugao, Bantok, Kankanay, Ibuloy, Kalinga, Tingguian, Isneg, Gadang, Ilonggot, at Negrito. Ang mga Ifugao, Bantok, Kankanay, at Ibaloy ay mga wet rice farmer kung saan sila yung gumawa ng pinaka-popular na rice terraces dito sa Pilipinas. Sa parteng Mindanao naman ay may mga iba't ibang pangalan ng grupo or tribal groups. Ito ay mga Eta or Etas, Bagobo, Guyanga, Mamanwa, Mangwayan, Mandaya, Banwaon, Bukidnon, Dulangan, Kalagan, Kulaman, Manobo, Subanon, Tebuli, Taga-Kaulo, Talandig, Tiruray o Tiduray. Itong mga grupo na aking binanggit kani-kanina lamang ay ilan lamang ito sa mga grupo na kadalasan natin naririnig o nakikita sa internet. Ngunit hindi natin alam na sa pinakasulok-sulokang bahagi ng Pilipinas ay mayroon pang iba't ibang uri ng indigenous people na hindi pa natin masyado o hindi pa natin natutuklasan sa panahon ngayon.
10 upland tribal groups in Luzon. Number 1, Ifugaos of Ifugao Province. They are a group of wet rice agriculturists and inoccupy nila ang mountainous area ng Northern Luzon. Pininiwalaan ng mga Ifugaos ay nanggaling sa China around 2,000 years ago. Ang ibig sabihin ng name na Ifugao ay inhabitant of the known world. Mahilig ang mga Ifugaos sa pagnuya ng buyo. Napakamahalaga sa kanila ng wet rice farming, and we all know that they are the one who made the Banawe rice terraces. Ginawa nila ang hagdan-hagdang palayan gamit ang karaniwang materyales. Mahalaga ang rice terraces sa ekonomiya ng mga Ifugaos. Number 2, Bontocs. They traditionally cover their body with tattoos. Ang mga babae ay nagpapatato for decorative purposes only. Ang mga lalaki, mai-earn nila ang tattoo kapag napatay nila ang mga kalaban in inter-tribal conflicts. Ang generation ng mas matandang Bontocs ay laganap ang pagpugot ng ulo. Makikita sa tattoo nila kung paano nila pinatay ang mga kalaban. There are 3 types of tattoos. Una, chaklag. Pangalawa, pungo. Pangatlo ay patek. Kapag ang taong nakapugot ng ulo ay may tattoo sa dibdib, ang tawag ay chaklag. Kapag ang babae at lalaki naman ay may tattoo sa braso, ang tawag ay pungo. Kapag ang babae at lalaki ay may ibang uri ng tattoo, ang tawag ay patek. Number 3, kangkanay. They are found in Cordillera Administrative Region, specifically in Western Mountain Province, Benguet Province, and Baguio City in Cordillera Administrative Region. Sila sa mga tribe na nag-claim na sila ay Igorot. So, ang Igorot ay mga naninirahan sa chain of mountains na despite of may foreign invasion and occupation sa country natin ay nananatili pa rin silang kakaiba with their own culture. Kilala sila sa pagiging independent tribe. Number 4, Ibalay. They are found in Benguet Province and they are very friendly and hardworking people. They are engaged in farming, especially sa pagtatanim ng palay. Nag-aalaga din sila ng baka, manok, at baboy. Ang customs, beliefs, and traditions ng Ibaloy ay very similar sa Kankana. Ang pagkakaiba lang nila ay ang language. Number 5, Kalinga of Kalinga Apayao. They have rich cultural traditions and expression on music, dance, and artisan work. Meron silang in-enforce na budong or peace pact system in which it binds together different tribes and ini-establish ito kapag ang isang member ng tribe ay may business relationship sa isang tao na kabilang sa kabilang tribe. Number 6, Tinggian of Abra Province. Napakalaki ng pagpapahalaga ng Tinggian sa kanilang kultura. Isa na rito ay ang pagpipreserve ng indigenous recipe at sinaunang pagluluto. Pinapangalagaan din nila ang kanilang mga kagamitan na gawa sa kawayan. Number 7, Isneg of Northern Kalinga Apayao. Isneg is an Austronesian ethnic group na native ng Apayao provinces. Ang culture nila ay ang family ang key element sa society and the larger the better. It is headed by the husband. Number 8, Gadang of the border between Kalinga Apayao and Isabela provinces. Their skin is more darker kung i-compare sa skin ng mga tao sa Cordillera. Ang leadership sa kanila ay ma-achieve based on bravery, skills, knowledge on customary laws and wealth, and usually in association with the status of Mingal or Great Warrior. Number 9, Ilonggot of Nueva Vizcaya. They are formerly known as headhunters at nais nilang manirahan sa malapit sa ilog dahil dito nila nakukuha ang kanilang pagkain at ito ay naging daan sa transportasyon. Ang paniniwala nila ay nagre-revolve around helpful and dangerous spiritual being. Number 10, Negrito. Ang mga Negrito ay ang Filipino indigenous people na may hunter-gatherer background including Aita, Agta, Ati, Ata, and Batak people. Ang Negrito ang nagre-represent ng most ancient civilization sa ating bansa dating back more than 50,000 years ago.
Lumad in Bisaya term, it is a native or indigenous. It is formed by 15 or more than 18 groups in Mindanao. Are you wondering kung ba't marami tayong tribes dito sa Philippines? So, there is a factor kasi kung ba't marami tayong tribes dito sa Philippines. So first, we have plenty of lands and mayaman din tayo in terms of water resources. So that noong mga sinaunang panahon, yung mga ninuno natin pumunta upang matustusan ang kanilang pangangailangan. So these presentations explain the culture, the history, and the traditions of the Aita, Manobo, Linga, Daya, Mangangan, Manwaan, and Bukidnon. The Aita or the Agtas, sila talaga yung mga naunang nanirahan o nanahanan dito sa island natin, which is the Philippines. So, paano or bakit sila napunta dito sa Philippines? So, may theory na nag-create because of that question. So, what is the theory? So, it is called Bering Bridge Theory. So, ito daw yung dahilan kung ba't napunta yung mga Aita dito sa Philippines. Times goes by, the ice glacier is natunaw. The bridge destroyed itself. So, yung mga Aita daw is napili na manirahan na lang dito sa Philippines. They decided to stay here in the Philippines kasi hindi na sila nakaalis dito. So, yung mga Aita daw is pumunta talaga sa mga bukid or bundok. So, that's why they are called the jungle survivor. They are distinguished, pugot by other tribes because they have dark skin, curly hair, and they are most of them is 5 feet tall. So for them to live and survive in the said environment, kailangan talaga nilang manampasan lahat ng pagsubok sa kanilang pamilya. They are live in Mount Pinatubo. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo has erupted. At sad to say, lumiit yung population ng mga Aita. Hindi lang sila matatagpuan sa Zambales, but they were found in Tarlac, Bataan, Pampanga, Panay, and Nueva Ecija. Manobo came from the word Mansuba, or Man means people or person, and Suba means river or river people. So most of the Manobo live in Aklan. So they are used to be agriculturists. The female is a weaver and the male is a farmer. They commonly cultivate as multi-crop and intercrop like rice, corn, sweet potato, and legumes. The Manwa believed to the original descendants of the settlers of the philosophy. So they are also called as Mamanwa Negritos. The Mamanwa is also believed in the spirituals and wisdom and healing abilities. The Aita is also believed in the Anito and the deities. So, because of the types of their living. Nasamba nila ang mga halaman, bato, or kahoy. Mandaya is also believed in Baylan. So, they believe in a spiritual and medicinal wisdom and healing activities. Mangangan are found in the Cordillera Sugut Mountain in Mindanao. The Bukidnon are known for their interest of artisans and handicrafts and also their dances in every occasions like planting and harvesting and also in the occasions of marriage. The Banmaon tribes is located in the eastern sides of Mindanao. So the people of Banwaon is also called Adgawanon, and they types of livelihood is agriculture, which is farming, and fishing as well.
Current issues. Number 1. Land rights. Land rights remain an ongoing issue for indigenous communities, many of whom still lack of official recognition of their ancestral land. Under 1997 Indigenous People Act, 221 certificates of ancestral domain title or the CEDTs had been issued on March 2018, covering 5.4 million hectares. While the process has only involved the land rights of indigenous communities totaling only 1.2 million people. On September 2016, less than 50 of 182 CEDTs had been registered. Even though the land is recognized as indigenous under this certificate, pwede pa rin itong may pagsawalang bahala or ma-ignore laban sa development projects. Kasi nga, yung mga mining and other projects ay maaaring makapagpatuloy kapag mayroon sila ng certificate of free, prior, and informed consent or the FPIC na makukuha lang sa mga apektadong indigenous communities. Second current issue, is migrating to cities in search of better livelihoods and social services. Although most indigenous communities live in isolated rural areas, a growing number are migrating to cities in search of better livelihood and social services. It was mostly driven by land militarization, tribal conflicts, and expansion of large-scale development projects, kung saan hindi naman nakakapagbigay ng benefit sa mga local communities, lalong-lalo na sa mga katutubong babae. Karamihan sa mga katutubong babae ay hirap na maghanap ng permanenteng trabaho sa mga mining companies, kung kaya't umaalis sila at pumupunta sa mga rural areas upang makapaghanap ng trabaho. The third current issue is the indiscriminate killings, driven by the belief that Lumads are supporting the NPA insurgency. Many Lumad civilians have been in the conflict subjected to militarization within their communities, are targeted with extrajudicial killings and torture. Because of it, it resulted to indiscriminate killings and widespread displacement of indigenous communities. Kaya't, marami sa kanilang mga katutubo ang umaalis upang makatakas sa karahasan at mga abuso ng mga security forces or sundalo. The fourth current issue is poor educational system to indigenous people. Lumad communities have often been caught of the protracted civil conflict in the southern Philippines and regularly accused of harboring communist sympathies. Alternative education has become the target of particular security and distrust, with the military accusing indigenous schools of promoting communist propaganda. Dahil na rin sa paniniwala na ang Lumad ang sumusuporta sa NPA, it resulted to indiscriminate killings and widespread displacement of indigenous communities. In 2017, Duterte threatened to bomb them. This situation creates further barrier for Lumads who have some of the lowest educational levels in the Philippines in accessing school. Isa pa sa mga naging dahilan ng problemang ito is the discrimination towards indigenous youths and the time and cost of traveling long distance to reach public school. And the fifth current issue is COVID-19 response and its impact in the life of indigenous people. Dahil nga sa most of indigenous people or communities are found in an isolated area or karamihan sa kanila ay nasa bundok, they are limited to access food supplies and basic health services. Dahil na sa COVID-19, mas lalo pa itong lumala.